Okay, my favourite marketing tip. And the reason this is my favourite is because a guy called Nigel Bottrell, who's a business and marketing coach in the UK, I can't stand the bloke, but he really does know his stuff. So I learned a heck of a lot from him. Took as much as I could in a short amount of time as I could, and this was the #1 tip. When I got to grips with this, I doubled the sales of my web design business in just under 9 months. But it's easier said than done. And this is where having a marketing plan, and not just a marketing plan, but a marketing action plan really, really comes into its own. And that's what we're going to do some work on today. So do some marketing every day. That doesn't necessarily, that does not include just chucking stuff out onto social media. Because everyone and their dog, because I've seen on Instagram, is doing that. But we're going to come on to some bits and pieces, and before we leave, hopefully going to get you to frame at least a marketing plan. It's interesting because just over nearly 2 years ago, Greg was in this room and I went through a 3-hour version of this. So about your marketing plan. Kind of things first, and I know I've been over for most of you in the room will have seen this, you need to know who you're selling to, who they are, where they are, what kind of people they are, as much information as you can gather about them. Simply because everything else in this has to lean on this. Don't touch the screen, it's interesting. Because, for example, Collect identified the audience, do renovation, maintenance, plumbing, right? That's the type of business they do. Has a geographic location, which is North Shore, not south of the bridge. Very clear about that geographic. That's knowing a bit about who you're selling to. So typically homeowners and or developers. So again, 2 separate different markets, but they're clearly defined. And yes, you could almost say that anybody with a house is a potential customer. However, there will be some people who will be in a position to afford to have their plumbing upgraded, and some who won't. So again, there's a financial demographic that you have to take into account. The more you know about your audience, the better off you're going to be. Angela has a very specific type of person that she wants to work with. And it isn't people just out of university. Because I'm 54, I'm still trying to work out what I want to do when I grow up. Mm-hmm. So the clearer you are, the easier it is to reach and speak to these people. Because once you understand who they are, and you can have more than one audience, you guys do. And that's okay, but the next bit is, what are you saying to these people? And if you have more than one audience, you will say different things to them. So, for example, if you're selling fridge magnets and magnetic business cards to business owners, what you say to mums with freshly born kids is going to be different. It's 2 completely separate audiences, 2 completely and totally separate boast/brag, because this is what you're saying to them. And like I said, it's okay to have more than one. But the more time you spend on this first one, the better off you are. So my target audience is tiny businesses. I don't want to deal with bigger guys. I want to deal with the people who run the business who can actually get stuff done. I don't want to deal with somebody who's been delegated to, who has less vested interest in making it work, if that makes sense. I want to talk to busy business people, run their own business, owner-operators, so self-employed. Preferably on the North Shore, because it's a little easier, because I don't. Much as I like my car, I like time to work with people. So,
and
I'm clear about. Sorry?
And it's road rage.
Yeah, unless road rage. New Zealand drivers are so bad, I get road rage and pack and save. So, that's going in my next comedy, yeah. My comedy next comedy. Right, so you need to understand what it is you're saying to them. Now, a big thing is always talk about the benefits of doing business with you. What's in it for me, WIIFM, for doing business with you? What do I get out of it? People only ever buy stuff if they can see something in it for them, except handbags and golf clubs. But everybody buys things for a reason. The more you understand your audience, the more you can work out what their reasons are, the more you can speak into those reasons. Does that make sense? But it always starts with your audience. What's their pain? What solution can you bring? How can you help them? How can you make their lives easier, less painful, more beneficial, and make them more attractive? Whatever it is. Okay, take away issues, bring benefits, save money, make money, whatever. The more you know about them, the easier what you're going to say to them becomes. And then finally, and this is where most people get stuck, but this is where most people start, is the channels. In my experience, probably well over 90% of people when they start a business, before they even know who they're selling to, they'll get a website, get some business cards, possibly get some flyers, do some networking. And after a while, they begin to realise, actually, I'm not doing very well here. Maybe I should think a bit more about what I'm saying, who I'm selling and saying it to. But most people do it the wrong way around. Start with the channel, start with what they're saying, before they've thought about the audience. However, in my view, it's the wrong way around. So like I said, start there, spend most of your time there, work on this, and then the channels, and we're going to cover that shortly, become almost apparent. Almost. Okay? Does that make sense? Anyone got any questions thus far? Good. Okay, so what do you need to put into your business plan this year? You need to be more human. Now, Tricia has potentially got herself into trouble on Instagram by showing her children working in the business. I'm not sure how big that is.
I got one really awful one.
Yeah, well.
Really?
Yeah.
They were helping me pack stuff or they're helping me stamp out stuff at Christmas when it was real busy. Most people thought it was great, but one person's like, you've taken a job away from a person who needs it by having your children working.
Oh my gosh.
I replied and said, haha, they actually got paid over minimum wage.
Good response.
Which they did.
Children should be
I'm
lying on
making
their bed
$20
watching
an hour.
Netflix.
To just
Yeah, right. Yeah, not being productive.
Yeah.
why not?
Well, absolutely, and there's nothing illegal about it.
There's
As long
always
as-
somebody, isn't there?
Yeah.
And sadly, on social media, everybody sits behind their keyboard and think they can say what they do they want. And yet it's only because they don't risk getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's what it boils down to. You would never say that kind of thing to a person in person.
Yeah,
Because
we
you
got
know-
a crazy comment the other day.
So anyway, being more human. The reason is because we're going down the road. For years now, we've been heading down the road, and it's actually largely started by Amazon, the great evil, of businesses distancing themselves from their customers and becoming companies and businesses and entities and organisations rather than human beings. And the more human you can be in your marketing, and I'll come on to some methodology shortly, the better off you'll be. I thought it was brilliant that your kids were involved in the business. My daughter's worked for me. She got paid a lot more than she worked on a piecemeal rate, and I realised that she's actually quite efficient. So her rate of pay at times was better than mine. Something wrong with that. So yeah, I put on an hourly rate, and her productivity plummeted. But so be more human. But it's people buy from people. And if you're buying a pair of shoes, you may need to go to a shop and try them on. I bought these online. I didn't know what didn't have to try them on, so I didn't need to be involved in a person-to-person relationship. But many of us here sell services. The human factor is vital. So in all of your marketing, accept this. Guess the industry.
Real estate.
Well done. Oh, they've even they've become a little adventurous lately. They've started doing this. Their marketing agency must be loving. Oh, no, we're going to change your marketing, radically overhaul it. You're going to go from this to this. Wow. Okay. I've never known it anywhere else. It's like everywhere. Somebody's smiling at me like this. And the number one salesperson in Auckland. It's like there's a lot of them. A lot of number one salesperson in Auckland. So people still like to buy from people. We're going to come on to that, how we can make that happen. More video. Now, Barry does some amazing videos. I know you've done a few as well, short snippets, which is fine. It's fine. I know Joe and Marcus do videos. Now, there's a number of reasons. In fact, there's dozens of reasons, but YouTube is the second biggest search engine, second most visited website. It is now the number one social media on the planet. It's overtaken Facebook until TikTok becomes the new world domination plan by the Chinese. YouTube is huge. And Google is still investing in developing YouTube and making it more accessible, more applicable. YouTube Shorts now, less than 60 seconds. Google are pushing them big time. Why? Because TikTok and Instagram have started taking up that space. So, and that's why on my YouTube channel, most of my recent videos are really, really short, okay, because they get noticed. and Google, YouTube are keen on pushing them out. Used by less than 5% of small businesses. I reckon it's probably 1 in 50. So there's a massive opportunity here, and I know Barry's really gone to town, and it's really worked incredibly well for you having videos.
I haven't got much business out of it, to be honest,
but it gets noticed because nearly no one else does it.
yeah.
And it doesn't matter what you do.
And I've been looking at those shorts, and that's my next step is to get into that.
One of the best ways to do shorts is to not think too much. I often, almost all my shorts are based on a conversation I've just had with a client. Here's the issue I saw, here's how I think they can fix it, you need help, come talk to me. Because you're addressing a problem, you're offering a very broad, sometimes, but specific to that issue solution, and then saying, right, I'm here to fix it. You can do that in less than 60 seconds. And the thing is, once you tune into this, you get ideas all the time. And Greg, you talk to your clients, they've got all kinds of myriads of challenges, issues, things they're facing, trying to accomplish. Doing videos like, I've just been talking with a client, they've got this particular issue, this is what it causes, this problem it causes for them, and this is what I think they should be working on, this is what we are working on. If this is you, let's talk.
Could I just drop an idea into the conversation here?
Of course.
I've just been talking to Trusha about her fridge magnets, and I've been thinking that short videos have a dynamic QR code on the fridge magnet, and every time I put up a short, say once or twice a week, it changes the dynamic. So if someone's got that on the fridge, they scan it, they get a new short video every day or every week or whatever.
You could, but how are you going to let them know that on a regular basis that there's something they're new?
Give them a fridge magnet when we're doing business with them, and say, hey, if you click the fridge magnet when you go past, click the QR code, you're going to get a thoughtful day, a short 60-second
That's a
video.
great idea. Let us know when it's done.
So you need to talk to Trusha.
So yeah, I mean, that's a good idea, and there's loads of ways you can do this, but YouTube is brilliant, and why I say good for SEO is because YouTube is owned by Google. Google loves YouTube, and Google really likes websites with YouTube videos embedded. And it is huge. And the irony is, even a lot of web design companies and SEO agencies don't have video. Surprisingly, few marketing agencies have video. They all know it's important, I promise you, they're all telling their clients, but they don't do it. They're obviously making too much money.
Do you think there's a reason they don't use it, or they don't think it's their demographics, like in terms of small businesses reaching out to them?
No, they're selling their services to estate agents, and they're making a lot of money. Going to go from this.
Yeah.
I'm going to charge you $100,000 for that. Yeah. I don't know, because it's not difficult to do anymore. I'm recording a video for you right now on a phone, which actually I got free, but that's another story. With a microphone that cost me about $100, on a tripod that cost me $30. I've got $50 worth of video editing software. That's all I need. In fact, you don't even need to pay for video editing software. So there's a lot you can do for next to no money to make this happen. I've never ever done I've never had a professional recorded video. And the reason is because I want to be able to illustrate to my clients that if you do this, it will be good enough. Google doesn't care whether it's professionally produced or not. You don't need Peter Jackson on your side. You just need to have a plan and execute it. And just talking to a camera while talking to your phone while walking down the street, actually for Google is good enough. For YouTube it's good enough. For a 45, 50-second video, bung onto YouTube and share that with your social media, it's good enough. Way too many people overthink it. I don't know how to. I don't know why.
Makeup artist on call.
Yeah.
Just hang out with me. I want to do a short, do my makeup.
Crazy as it sounds, this kind of stuff.
Oh no.
You just shoot like a 5-minute video, but it'll take them 15 minutes to get my face ready.
Carl, I have a question regarding what Barry just mentioned. He's getting a lot more engagement with his videos.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's getting noticed, but he's not getting any more clients. What's the magic link there to
Always
actually...
a call to action. Always a call to action. And even that call to action is just, write a comment below. Or just drop me an info, because LinkedIn is Barry's channel. We're going to talk about channels in a moment.
I heard a good one.
Go on.
So I listened to I was just listening to the Jim Quick podcast on the way in, and he was interviewing some guy about age and, you know, age reducing stuff and all this, doctor, and he said the call to action is tag us and tell us what your age reducing thing is that you're going to do today, start doing. And it was simple. I mean, it's not like just tag us, or it's tag us and, you know, tell us about this.
Follow a guy called Neil Patel, who runs runs a website called MP Digital, and he recently bought AnswerThePublic.com, which is brilliant. And his big deal is whenever he creates a video or does a blog post, he always puts in it, tell us what you're going to do based on what you've just learned. Now, interestingly enough, everybody who watches his videos or reads his blog posts is interested in improving their digital marketing. When you create a comment on his website, and the comments on the same thing works on a WordPress website. When you create a comment, you have to give over your email address to be able to do it. And what he does, he adds that to his database, and then he sends you messages about his marketing team helping you develop your digital marketing. But the call to action is, tell us what you're going to do. What are you going to do based on what you've just learned? Clever. It's subtle, but it's doable. You don't have to make it complicated. So yeah, what are you going to do? Because almost always, if somebody, Barry, if somebody you're talking about, you're talking about shareholder agreements, you can say, well, what are you going to do about what you've just learned? And somebody who puts in any kind of comment about action, they're a potential customer. Really that simple. So it's then up to you to start your follow-up process, or at least go through the involvement. Number 3, talk to your customers more. Very few, in my experience, small businesses talk to their customers nearly enough. As I learned a long time ago, it's your business to remind your customers to do business with you. It's not their job to remember. So what you'll find is a lot of small businesses won't talk to their customers nearly. The professions were the worst of this: accounting, law, a lot of tradies. And I've worked on this. A lot of tradies, if they talked to their existing and past customers a lot more, they'd pick up work almost like that. And it's nuts. Considering something like MailChimp is dirt cheap, I use ActiveCampaign, which is $108 a year as an email marketing system. It could be that simple.
I phone clients on their birthdays, and the reactions are amazing. I know it sounds tacky, but they love it.
I know, because their birthdays are personal to them. You can't miss Christmas. And it's just easy. I would send everybody a Christmas card. Why not pick up their birthday? It's not difficult to do. Most of us have got calendars. Some of them are electronic, with reminders in. So only 1 in 10 small businesses communicate with their customers enough. Oh no, never forget, I went to see a company that sold adhesives online, glue and stuff. And they've been in business for a long, long time. And the guy who founded it was well into his 60s, and his son was in the process of taking over. And they got this website, which is where they sold most of their stuff, but their sales were declining. And my first question was, well, what do you do to talk to your customers? What do you mean? I said, well, when somebody buys from you, well, do you email them every month or something, or remind them that you... Oh, no, we don't do that. I said, why not? And the old boy who ran it says, well, we don't want to pester people. And I nearly fell off my chair, because I came this close to saying, do you have any idea how bloody stupid you sound right now? And I said, well, hate to break it to you, but repeat business in what you do is easy to have. You want to keep your customers coming back, because if they get a fresher and better offer from somewhere else, they're off, because you've not engendered any loyalty. He wouldn't have it. And I have no idea what happened to the business, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was now long gone, because they don't market to their existing customers. And if you buy anything from IT8, they spam you like crazy. All the big retailers do. Why? Because it works. Not saying you have to stuff people's inboxes every day, right? I send out a weekly email. Right? The click-through rate's really good, the open rate is really good, the unsubscribe rate is really low. Why? Because every single email is useful, helpful, beneficial in some way. It's not difficult to do. It takes me about 15 to 20 minutes a week. We're going to come on to that. All right. And remarketing. Remarketing is effectively another bite of the cherry. Somebody visits your website, are they getting an ad for what you do somewhere else? either through Google, through Facebook, or email. If you use Active Campaign, you've got the opportunity, or other ones like it, to remarket to people using an email system. A good example is one of my clients is an accountant. He sends out a weekly email to all of his contacts and clients. If anyone who's not one of his clients clicks on the link to read the blog post or the article he's talking about, they get an email the following day. It's automated, saying, look, is this an issue for you? Let's talk. It's dead simple. We're just in the process of setting up Facebook remarketing for him as well.
So the blog post tracks, this person got this from the email and then sends a follow-up email?
Well, if you use an email marketing system like even MailChimp will do it,
Right.
you can set up a trigger on a link that somebody
Right.
might click on. And if they click on it,
That's
MailChimp will notify saying these guys have clicked on the link. If they don't identify as a current customer, then you email them and say, can I talk?
So they're not a customer, but you have got their email address. So they subscribe, but they haven't bought from you.
How many business cards have you picked up networking?
I don't know where my handbag.
In all the time you've been networking, for how long you've been in business, I know you've been to quite a few networking events, you picked up dozens easily, right? You're selling business to business. There's nothing to stop you and nothing unlawful about you adding those contact details to a database and saying, look guys, I sell business, magnetic business cards. We had a magnetic business card from a pest control company on our fridge in the UK for what must have been 8 years. It took that long for us to phone them, but the fact that it had been there, they were the only people who were in the picture. And I picked it up at a networking event. So, you know, you've got an opportunity here. And again, email marketing systems aren't expensive. I use Active Campaign, I love it, because there's so much automation you can do. Yesterday I set up an automation for a sales follow-up for a guy who sells blinds. I call him the blind guy. Makes me smile. But he's got a sequence of emails that are being triggered by various interactions in the sales process. It's a set and forget system. It took me bloody hours to set it up, but it's good.
What's the name of it?
The Active Campaign.
Active.
I'll put a link in on the website when I put up the video. Okay. Oh yeah, did I mention this one yet? Okay, on to channels. This is not an exhaustive list. Fires in the face. But there are some very some essentials here. CRM and database. It's very important you have this, even if you just do email marketing. Premium products. All right, who's going to confess to having been to McDonald's lately? Right?
The last couple months.
When McDonald's added the supersize or go large, they added 30% to their turnover and 17% to net profit overnight. What did they have to do for it? Just ask, would you like to go large with that? They give you some extra soda and some fries. Very few businesses won't have the opportunity for a premium product. So for example, I'm going to pick on Angela, because I know her business very well. So Angela has an introductory product, which is a 2-week coaching program. The upsell is, and that's over here, the upsell is a 12-week coaching program. Interestingly enough, there is a good measure of people thus far who've bought the initial product and gone on to buy the next product because we make an effort of selling it. So have a think. Would you like to go large with that opportunity in your business? Would you like the bronze, silver, or gold service? Okay. There's a very good opportunity, there's a very good book called Rise of the Upreneur, which talks through this process of upsells and on-sells and premium products. Well, premium products are brilliant. When I had the website design company, I had 3 packages. Nearly everybody bought the middle one because it was packaged the right way, in a very good way. Nearly nobody bought the cheap one. They all bought the one that they thought was most popular because we told them it was the most popular.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask, like I've seen certain things and I was wondering what your advice would be on this, like where they've got the basic and then kind of like, you know, your classic, and then they've got premium, and then it says, rightly or wrongly, whether they're speaking it into being or whether it's true, there's a big red thing that says popular choice. And so you're just kind of like, okay, but is it? But would it be worth kind of like marketing for this, but then just having the lesser products available?
I wanted people to buy the middle product.
The middle product?
Yes, because it was
Yeah.
the most profitable for us.
Okay.
Because for what people
That's
bought-
by design too, isn't it?
By design.
Yeah.
Because it took us not a lot more work,
Right,
but it upped the sale value by over 50%.
right.
Maybe our problem is because if people inquire how much is your birthday package, our reply kind of goes, our packages start at 149, and then we kind of do, and then we show them the packages down the bottom. But then maybe they already have the 149 in their head.
Yeah,
but
so-
you have the options already up front.
One of the, you might well start with our most popular
Yeah,
is, and that could be a middle package or a top
Yeah.
package. You start there, and if they have an enhanced, look, well, we do have a package at 149. Okay. It's easier to haggle down than it is up.
Unless your original parent.
Sorry?
Unless your original parent.
Yeah. So we can talk about this because there will be a way. It's all about how you phrase it. Mine was
Yeah.
packaged as the most popular, and we wanted them on. I wanted them on a 6-month payment plan, and I put that down as the most common choice. So I wanted them to buy the middle package on a 6-month payment plan.
right.
And funnily enough, 60% of our customers did. Only about 1 in 10 bought the web marketing whole shebang pro pack, which was our top product. Some did, most didn't, and then a few bought the lower one.
Right.
But we started in the middle. If they thought it was too expensive, oh, we've got another package you can have. Okay. All right. So let's get some work done. Right. I want you to spend a couple of minutes making notes about the. I just want you to list the marketing channels that you're using. Now, networking and coming to here and talking to people is a marketing channel. Okay, so just a quick list of your marketing channels that you use. It could be social media. Write down all the social media that you do. And yes, writing blog posts and creating videos is marketing. They are marketing channels. Just for Colette, I think David, you've got branded clothing. Those are marketing channels.
Yeah.
Signs on the side of a van. Marketing channel. Advertising in newspapers and local magazines. Bus stops. Okay. Anybody want to share what they got? Rich, go.
Facebook, Instagram, Mailchimp, networking, and YouTube.
Okay.
What about your podcast?
Haven't done one fresh.
Got a
done fresh-
website?
Haven't done a fresh one for a while. Website. But yeah,
Website.
podcast is definitely still out there. Website's probably the best in terms of how it's doing for me.
Do you get referrals?
Yeah.
Then it's a marketing channel. People talk about you, tell their friends it's a marketing channel.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the second best one. That's between those are the top two in terms of leads.
So my accountant client has everything in place. His whole marketing system is in place. The one thing that an accountant absolutely must have, and it's been like pushing wet spaghetti to get him to do this, is to start asking for referrals. Because almost all accountants become successful on the back of referrals. And there is a plan, and we're working on a plan to make that happen. It is arguably the cheapest And in terms of close rates, the best marketing channel out there.
Absolutely.
Word of mouth, yeah.
So so everybody should have a referral plan or referral system, or at least be asking for referrals. Because if you don't ask, you're not going to get any.
The amount of people that call us and say, the only reason why I'm calling you is because you've got so many Google reviews.
Google reviews is another marketing channel, if you've got them, or testimonials, etc. Google reviews for tradie is essential. So always, in fact, Google reviews are really, really good. Your Google business profile, if you've got one, if you've got a location specified on your website, you will have a Google business profile whether you realise it or not, because Google will create it for you. So definitely worth having. Okay, so what I'd like to do is have a quick think about how well they're doing, or which ones you think are working really well, which ones are not doing so well. It doesn't matter, there's no right or wrong answers here. I'm not trying to catch anyone out, just trying to make you think a little bit. You don't have to, I know all about your marketing.
I'm excited about my email.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, Angela put out her first.
People replied to me.
That's very nice.
High five.
Now, this is 5 months after I suggested that we get some email marketing started.
It's true.
It's surprising when people reply. I'm like, oh, hi.
What do you know?
Not doing everything you tell me. Just say it.
Well, it also takes a while to get your head around it. Like when we first started the Happy Birthday people, all we were doing was birthdays. For a long time, the people that we were talking to were saying, you guys, this could do so many other things. You could be branching out, you could be doing holidays, you could be doing special events, we're just like, we're only doing birthdays. And we're just like, that was our comfortable spot, and we were thinking that we'd have to learn more songs. You know, like how can we live at that speed?
And
That makes it sound so bad.
But it was, right? We were
wrote
just
your
like,
songs.
hang on, we're happy with this.
Because it was
Let's
a
let us think about it.
trumpet, because it's trumpet, like we could do more songs than we do singing, but like, if you like, okay, let's do the Valentine's Day song with the trumpet. Like, there is no
There's no
Valentine's Day
Day.
song.
So we had to kind of get our heads around what that would look like. And once we started being able to do that, which took about 5-6 months, suddenly we just launched it. Hey, we can do Father's Day. We can do this. We can do this. We can do that. And it's weird how long it takes to drop and kind of, oh no, I can't do that.
Yeah, and it's good because these are always ideas, and I've got a big red book for ideas. I don't action every single one of them, but I always write them down. If it's an idea for something to develop my business. Because when you write stuff down, and particularly if you say it out loud, you're activating all of your learning senses, visual, audio, kinesthetic. So even if you don't do anything with it, it will stay in your mind. And when the penny drops, it will be the right time. And so, yeah, it's always happening. So, anybody want to talk about what works, what doesn't in their marketing?
For me, Google Ads are working, and email.
Google Ads and email. Good. Am I on your email list? I should be.
Do you need fridge magnets?
I might not now, but that doesn't mean A, I don't know someone who does,
Okay.
such as Darren from Vertical Adventures.
Yes, he's ordered so many. That was great.
So, and also, it doesn't mean I'm not going to want some at some point in the future.
Right, I shall put you on. I'll
So-
put it on my list.
It's useful to forward to other people as well.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, here you go.
So fridge magnets will work well for traders.
Yeah, we give a fridge magnet and a roll
And
of
a
TP.
toilet roll. I just think it's brilliant.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a branded roll of TP.
Brilliant.
So yeah, again, one of the cool things is to be slightly different. Most marketing is boring. Even the marketing agencies, the creative agencies, most of their marketing is very boring. It's uninteresting. You look at their websites and they all kind of follow a very similar format. It's almost that, oh, well, they got a website, yeah, great. What does theirs look like? Well, it's nice, well, we'll do something quite similar. And it almost seems like nearly no one wants to stand out. So I would say just be slightly different. Do things that are slightly different, you know. And again, fridge magnets. And I've still got your fridge magnet business card. Okay, so the fridge is nowhere near my desk, so it's still on my desk.
just in what you were saying, I had a complaint that somebody got TB. It was highly offensive to them, but
Oh, wow.
everyone else has loved it. So there's always going to be somebody. You just got
There's
to,
going to be bidet people everywhere.
Yeah. you just got to be like, whatever.
Wow.
You're on the other spectrum.
Okay.
You're not my person. You're not my customer.
When COVID hit, what were people running out of? Toilet paper. You're welcome.
I developed this theory that COVID is actually a ploy by the toilet roll manufacturers. Because they absolutely stormed it.
Yeah.
But how did they pack that it was going to be toilet paper that people wanted?
All you got to do is just bung it out on Facebook. We could be locked down for months. I'm buying toilet paper. Yeah. Not buying food. I'm going to get a whole bucket full of toilet paper.
Supermarkets.
You didn't need any extra.
Yeah, they didn't run out of bread, but toilet
I'm going
paper.
to start going to the loo 10 times more often, aren't you?
They're running out of
Right,
food.
okay. So let's get planning with your marketing channels that you've got. The reason I got you to write them down is so we can, and to think about how well they're working, is we're going to actually start creating a very tentative, the basis of a marketing plan. And a marketing plan needs to be not just what we're aiming at, but also what we're actually going to do about it. Because, you know, a plan without some kind of action is just a dream. So, what I want you to do is have a think about the channels that you've just written down, get a bit of paper, quarter it like this, and think about what are we going to do quarterly, what are we going to do monthly, weekly, and daily. Just spend a couple of minutes on this. You can finish it off later. It's interesting because I read a book, not I heard most of a book on Audible a couple of years ago. It was like 12 hours long. It was a book on time management. It's like, what? Can't remember what it was called. It was something like the 12-week work year or something like that. And the idea behind it was to plan your work in 12-week chunks, assuming you get 4 weeks off. And if you think about it, my 2020 marketing plan was dead in the water by the end of April. So, because everything changed. So I always think, yes, have an annual plan, but break it down into chunks that you can actually do. Because the idea behind it is to think, what we're going to do quarterly. This is where you review what you were doing in your marketing. You should do it every quarter. What's gone well? What are we spending on? What kind of return on investment do you think we're getting? Are we spending a lot of time on something which doesn't seem to be getting anywhere? Because time is money as well. It's not just about actual spend like Google Ads, for example. So what are we working on? Is what this quarterly goal helping us towards our annual goals? And annual goals normally are financial in most small businesses.
It's not working very well.
Oh, it's not working.
And then what we do is we think, okay, what do we need to be looking at every month? So if you're things like emails, I don't think emails should be sent out monthly. I think fortnightly is good. At the very longest, every 3 weeks. I prefer weekly, but like I said, I've got it down to the point where it takes me 15 to 20 minutes a time.
What if you've told them monthly?
If you've told them monthly, send it out in 3 weeks, I promise they won't remember. But I can't remember emails I got yesterday, let alone weeks ago. So it's what can we do monthly. Monthly is not too long. My friend Marie, who's a VAT consultant, VAT is the UK equivalent of GST, the world's sexiest subject. She was sending out monthly emails, and she used to work for KPMG back in the 70s and 80s. And you couldn't possibly have imagined a more conservative, not progressive organisation. She didn't want to spam people, so she's reluctant to get emails going out on a more regular basis. And I said, look, do me a favour, just every 3 weeks, we'll bring it in a little. And funnily enough, the response rate started going up because people were getting things that were a little bit more familiar. She went to every 2 weeks, and it's now her second most successful marketing channel behind her website.
How dependent is the success of email marketing on the subject line?
Always. You ever bought a newspaper because you've seen a great looking headline? The subject line is the number
Actually,
one.
I've stopped buying newspapers because it's got Harvey Norman on the front. The weekend paper's all Harvey Norman, and I don't buy newspapers because of that.
Okay, well,
But inside the headline, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I get it.
your subject line is the headline. it is the attention grabber. The idea there is just to get people to click and to take a look. And then you've got to have copy which resonates with people and leads people. Keep your email short, always have a call to action. No one's going to read a 750-word email unless it's on the desk. A, they've asked for it, or B, they are some kind of freak.
I've just recently started sending a weekly email on a Thursday, sent it on Friday to people who didn't open, and then on the Sunday, send it to everyone who opened it, and it's like phenomenally successful.
Yep.
But I don't know if that's just a product-based thing, because you can just see the sales rolling in on the Sunday every week.
Yeah, well, it does work because a lot of people don't see it, so my open rate's high, but it's still less than 50%. And that's fine. So if I then reiterated, I could send out the same email the following day to people who didn't open it with a different subject line, and a whole load of people would open the same email. The same email, just change the subject line.
The one a few days later to everyone who did open it is a slightly shorter version of the same.
Now, if you've been on my email list for a while, the email that I sent out yesterday, the body copy was exactly the same as one I sent out in May last year. The subject line was different, the open rate was pretty much the same percentage. I didn't change any of the copy, I just literally changed the subject line and people opened it. So I'm a big fan of repurposing and recycling content. Okay. So weekly, what are we going to do each week? And that could be write blog posts, that could be create a video, that could be send an email out. Always, at the very longest, review how well your marketing has gone and your marketing activity every month. Don't leave it longer than a month. Okay? Because, for example, if you're spending money on ads and you wait for every quarter, there could be 7 weeks there where you've just chucked a load of money down the drain. So don't review every month. I've got one client who's reviewing his ad spend every single week because we are nailing down what works and what doesn't. We are analysing it every week. Well, we're discussing it every fortnight, but he's looking at it every week, and I've given him instructions on how to start reining it in. So we're getting rid of wastage and focusing only on the stuff that seems to be working. And the cool thing is when you do that with something like Google Ads, your ads become far more productive. And Google will see what you're trying to do and they will actually help you become more successful in Google Ads. They're kind of good like that. They want you to spend money and they want it to work for you. Facebook, on the other hand, don't seem to give a damn, and so you can still work with it, particularly for remarketing and retargeting. And then daily. Now, here's where it starts to get interesting. When you've got all of these activities written down, you then start to plan your marketing week. Okay. When I had the web design business, Monday morning was always video, and it was in Auckland Business Builders until May last year. Gosh, right? Tuesday was, and fundamentally still is now, my email marketing day. Wednesday, I often go to a networking event, but on many Wednesdays, once every few weeks, I publish a podcast. Thursday is when I schedule my social media for the week, which takes me about half an hour, sometimes 45 minutes. And Friday is doing a spot of SEO, doing a spot of responding to social media, etc., and tidying up anything that needs to for the week. That's my marketing week. But I also once a month run a seminar. It's a marketing activity. I also, at least once a week, go to a networking event. That's a marketing activity. Okay. I also do sales follow-ups. So I'm going to follow up with a guy today who was looking for a website. I spoke with him on Friday. Not heard, so I'm going to follow up. So this afternoon is going to be a follow-up. I've got a reminder to follow up.
So what's the cumulative time for the 5 days?
Yeah, per day.
Yeah, add everything you're doing something every day. So, because you've got to time to do the work. So the marketing, you say to do at least 20 minutes a day marketing.
At least 20 minutes a day.
But what's it take you to, because you're doing a podcast, that takes more than 20 minutes.
Well, the podcast I'm actually republishing because I had it on a platform that wasn't performing, and I scrapped that late last year. So I'm republishing it onto Anchor.fm, which is owned by Spotify. So it instantly gets syndicated by Spotify. The stats are done like that. So because I've already created it, but having said, most of my podcasts are only about 8 minutes long. It takes me 8 to 10 minutes to record it. Again, about 10 to 15 minutes to edit it down, another 5 minutes to create a graphic and bung it online. So that would take me 25 minutes to half an hour to do a 7 or 8 minute podcast. But then I've got the process down. I've got the tools and I've done it often enough to make that happen. I use a software called OneUp app. OneUp app is a social media scheduling tool. It's brilliant. It's one of the best I've seen, and it's cheap.
So that's instead of Hootsuite?
I used to use Hootsuite until they decided to up my fee from $9.99 a month to $65 a month.
Oh, fair enough.
They lost an awful lot of customers. A heck of a lot. I think they decimated, they're not more than decimated, they lost well over half their customers by doing that. But they didn't care.
Mailchimp is doing it as well. They drop in the customers that you're allowed from like 2,000
To 500.
to 500.
Yeah. Well, here's the methodology. If I double my fee and lose half my clients, what have I lost? And there's a rationale in that. And I did that with the website design business. I doubled my fee overnight. Of course, my customer numbers plummeted, but I was doing less work for the same money.
Yeah.
So Hootsuite just didn't give a damn. Right? Everybody's going to be on the same package at 65 US a month. Doesn't matter. Even if we lose, 40, 50, 60% of our customers, we're more than going to keep going with some on top. Because it is a good platform. Don't get me wrong with you. It is a good platform. I love OneUp because it's so darned easy to use. And they've got a calendar where you can drag and drop now, which was the killer feature with Hootsuite. Now that OneUp have it, it's brilliant. So I recommend it.
And what do they charge?
Not a lot. I don't know. But it's cheap.
Yeah.
Certainly cheaper than Hootsuite. In fact, Netflix is cheaper than Hootsuite. But I don't recommend Netflix as a marketing tool. But so the idea behind it is to take your quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily plan and start to schedule stuff. This was April. This is when I created this, April 2021, which is when Greg and I were first in this room. So
Been that long.
it was, yes. I think it was April the 5th or something like that. But the idea is to put something in every day. Have a marketing activity every day. It doesn't mean it all has to be client-facing. I schedule my social media out on Thursdays, and I don't actually look at it a great deal apart from that. I rarely put stuff into social media outside of that. So I schedule my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, or do it all on a Thursday. Yesterday I went into LinkedIn and wrote a little piece, etc. But that's rare for me. If I create an ad hoc video, so for example I'm walking away from a meeting with a client, then that goes onto YouTube, it goes onto LinkedIn, it goes onto Facebook, and it also goes into Instagram if it's less than 60 seconds. So again, one piece of content can go everywhere. So never underestimate the power of video, because it literally is. In my view, video is the killer content. If you've got a 5-minute video, you can have it transcribed into a blog post. That blog post can then be splintered into maybe 10 to 15 different social media posts. And then in a few months' time, you share it all again, because no one's going to remember. I don't. So most of my social media these days is stuff that I shared early last year. So, because no one remembers. And the platforms don't give it out. So like I said, my email that went out yesterday was an email that I sent out in May last year. But I changed the subject line, and of course changed the information about the seminar. So keep it simple. Recycle, reuse, repurpose your content, for example. And however you want to frame it. So when I had the web design business, I did the video on Monday. Friday was blog post day. And the blog post was almost always a transcription of a video that I'd done several weeks ago. So I didn't have to recreate any content, I just had to bung that video into an AI transcription tool. 15 minutes later, I got a blog post. I had to edit it, take out all of the funny translations. Joe, what is that all about that?
I'm just thinking that.
That was funny. And you'll have to.
What transcribing tool do you recommend?
I use Happy Scribe. It's not a freebie, but I think it's really, really good.
I think we tried the freebie usage.
AI, was it Otter? Was it Otter?
I think it was that
remember. It was the
one.
one.
They come up with some, the thing about the scribing tools or transcribing tools is sometimes, depending on the accent, it does not get the perfect.
And the Kiwi accent's an
was-
interesting one because most Kiwis can't say eh. It's a eh. Windy. Last night was in a quiz. We were talking about the name. Which book was the name Windy made famous? Windy. It was. And she was there laughing. Windy. It's windy.
We know that now.
Yeah.
Windy, and then I was like, windy? I've read a lot of books, I don't
It's
remember
like
that
I had
one.
around my new deck. The neighbours, it's waterproof.
Come and sit on your dick. Right, so that's literally what to put in, what to include in, some channels, the channels that you're using, the methodology you're using, how to create your own marketing plan, and just keep it simple. Don't overthink, don't overcomplicate it. One of the keys to marketing is to be consistent. If you're consistent, you outmarket 90% of your competition, because many businesses, particularly small businesses, do poke it with a stick marketing. Oh, we're going to do some blog posts. They'll write 5 and lose enthusiasm. You're going to start doing videos. You go on the YouTube channel. The last one they did was 2015. And this happens a heck of a lot. So if you're just consistent, even if you can only commit to doing a video a month, for example, with Angela, we're committed to doing an email every fortnight and a blog post in the other week every fortnight. Okay, and the cool thing is that blog post then becomes social media posts. That blog post also becomes the subject matter for an email. We've only created the content once. And that's the cool thing about having content, video, and blog post. If you start there, you'll never be shy of stuff to put onto social media. You'll never be shy of stuff to email out to customers and potential customers. You'll never be shy of content which establishes your credibility, particularly case studies. Okay. So this is timeanddate.com. I always used to have a paper one. I kept it on my desk with the web design business. I printed it off at the end of the month, and I filled it in for the coming month. And that was what I did. And I did that for a number of years, and it was just an absolute storm. It was a dead simple, down-to-earth way of doing it, nothing fancy. I didn't have it in an electronic calendar. I had it on paper, because when I sat at my desk, it was on my keyboard, because I put it there before I left the office. So this is what I'm doing in my marketing today. Quick tip, do your marketing at the beginning of the day before you do anything else, because I promise to you, the round to it ain't happening. That's how we are. In most cases, I know there are exceptions, there are some weirdos out there, but most people never come back to it.
I'm one of those weirdos then.
Well,
Can't do it anymore.
Everything's-
those who know you are not surprised.
It's in the calendar and it does get done.
Well, there we go. And that's all that matters. You schedule your work and get it done, because most small businesses don't. It's not that they can't, they just don't. You'll find that most marketing agencies, and this is what absolutely cracks me up, most marketing agencies don't have consistent marketing. In fact, to be honest, they don't even have imaginative marketing. They call themselves creative agencies. Just weird. Yes, I'm scathing about the industry I work in. Funnily enough, I run a web design company. Every web designer knows that video is important, but I was the only web designer in the whole county who had a regular video blog. The only one. And our website outperformed them all. And they were wondering why. We're just a tiny little business. We've got 20 staff. How are they outperforming us? Trade secret. That everybody knows. But they just don't do it. And that's the thing. It's all right knowing it, but the doing is what matters. You know, your email strategy just works. Nearly no one else will do it in almost any industry. And that's the cool thing about it.
You do think you're bothering people. Before I started, I was thinking, can't do this. And then, yeah, double my sales from last January to this January just by doing that.
You will be bothering people, but
Yeah,
it's
they
not, but not
unsubscribe.
just, yeah, exactly,
And I was
yeah.
like, well, who
So yeah,
cares?
it takes that,
Yeah.
you weed out the
Yeah.
ones, yeah.
As long as you're growing your list faster than it's shrinking, and that's the mission with email marketing.
Yeah.
Your list has to be growing faster than people are unsubscribing. So in your particular case, you've got Google ads to fill the top of the funnel, and a number of those will become new customers. So your list will be growing. So it's all about that. How can we do stuff on a consistent basis? Because the more consistent you are, the better results you get. The more you'll be known in your market, even if it does feel like you're pestering people. If it puts money in your pocket, someone will unsubscribe, you'll live with it, right? That's the bottom line, literally. Looking at it from an accounting point of view. So, look to improve always. If you haven't heard of Dave Brailsford, I think I've mentioned it before. So, aggregation and marginal gains. You're not looking for massive wins, you're looking for lots of little wins compounded over time. And if you can improve the success of your email marketing and social media and your networking by 3 or 4% across the board, the cumulative effect is huge. And that's how it was. All right. A bit, that's all, folks. Here's the bit where I found out I haven't actually switched the video on.
Go again.
Oh, no, we're good.